and I was super angry with her. But then, I started kind of going through therapy, right? And going through therapy not just for that particular situation, but going through therapy for, my own personal baggage and issues that, was separate and aside from her and my relationship with her. And what I discovered doing that was I discovered that the divorce was my fault. And it's my fault because although I wouldn't, go back and change anything because I have two wonderful kids with her. The
Mm-hmm.
reality of it is that it was my fault because we should have never been together in the beginning. I was in a point in my life where I was extremely desperate, right? I was the quintessential simp, as they would say, blue beta male,
Yeah,
whatever you
yeah,
want to call it, right? And a lot of that stemmed from my personal trauma that I from my childhood. It also stemmed from a lack of education, right? Because you and I are in the same age group. You and I are in that group where
yeah.
we were kind of left out in the desert to fend for ourselves without any weapons, right?
Yes,
Because
sir.
our parents raised us to be, you know, um, they essentially raised us to treat a woman the way that you would want your mother to be treated. You know,
Exactly.
be respectful, be honest, be a gentleman, right? And then be dutiful, um, go get a job, take care of your family, blah 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 blah, right? All of those
Yeah,
traditional values. Well, social media started taking off when we were in our 20s,
yeah,
and that changed the game. And for men like us, we were unprepared for it. Uh,
definitely.
and so, you know, that in combination with my trauma put me in an extremely desperate state for love, right? And
Yeah,
I end up attracting somebody who was equally as desperate as I was, which was a recipe for disaster because we met,
yeah,
married after 6 months, didn't know the first thing about each other. And it's surprising that we lasted 10 years.
exactly.
Um, but the reality of it, which goes back to my point, the reality of it is that I was at fault because I was not in a healed state. I had no real leadership qualities. I didn't understand the dynamics of dating and relationships and how it was evolving and changing at such a rapid pace. So, with that, what are your thoughts on how men need to be taking more responsibility for how things are currently in dating and relationship spaces?
The within a relationship, it always starts and stops with the male. It just is what it is. I talking to my daughter. I think you know what I'm saying, and that's one thing I pride myself on. I told my daughter I'm gonna always be open and honest. We could talk about anything, and I told her a man is always going to get the blame if it fails. If it succeeds, it's what the woman does to make it work. Now, as a man, you must understand, and this is what leading up to talk about what the men do to be better. As a man, you must understand, no matter what goes on in a relationship, you're going to be at fault if things go wrong. And all men need to understand that. You can have a woman who's just horrible with money. She spends. The house foreclosure. Society is going to look at the man and say, "How did you allow the house to go into foreclosure?" Anything that happens negative or badly in a relationship is going to fall on men. So men need to understand that going into a relationship that it starts and stops with you. And to be better, you must understand: are you really ready for a relationship? Like you, the scenario you gave. Hey, same thing. My mom was telling me how to treat a woman and do all that. And so I go into a relationship with my ex-wife, and you know what I'm saying, I knew she cheated a couple of times, but then the rooster came home, and clarified that she cheated. I had a decision right there to walk away or not. But we had a baby girl. So I'm putting the pressure on myself. Hey, you didn't really have a father figure in your life and all this. So I stayed around longer than I should have because I wanted to show my daughter that she could have her family, something that I didn't have. Uh, so, but younger, if I go back and talk to younger me today, I would tell him like you, hey, to walk away. Women are allowed to walk away when their peace is disturbed. As men, we should do the same thing. If your peace is disturbed, you're allowed to walk away, and you should take that chance. I mean, take that opportunity to walk away. And being better in a relationship, you always wanting to be someone's partner and crutch. But if you're not able to stand alone, you're not going to be able to help their partner. So before going into a relationship as a man, you got to understand I got to be able to stand alone before I'm able.
I agree 100%. And you know, it's I honestly believe like a lot of the issues that relationally that we're having, right? And when I say we, I'm talking about men, is that a lot of men have zero leadership skills. A lot
Yes.
of men couldn't lead themselves out of a cardboard box.
Yeah.
And thus they are thrusting themselves into relationships that there's a certain when you get into a relationship, there's certain levels of expectation that come along with that. And a lot of men are unable to meet those expectations. And you know, they find themselves in these situations where the woman is being her natural self. She's being her hypergamous self,
Mm-hmm.
which is nothing wrong with that because that's the way that God made them, right?
Yeah.
Um, they're being there and they're looking for someone better, you know, on this journey, right? Because um, now that I am a certified relationship coach and I've been researching this stuff for a couple of years, the thing that that I discovered that, and this was probably 3 years into my new marriage, is that women are hypergamous, and
Oh yeah.
that even in your marriage, you as a man can't get comfortable.
Nope.
You have to always present yourself as the best option. Even though you're married, there's a covenant, there's commitment, you still have to present yourself as the best option for your woman. And so what
But
does that look like? That looks like making subtle and slight improvements every single day. Trying to get better, do better, be better.
now let me ask you this:
Mhm.
we have to do better and be better all the time. Like, do a woman have to do better?
Absolutely.
Think
And
about it. Now, you answer that
and
absolutely, but
they absolutely, and the reason why I say that is because the male sets that precedent in the
mm-hmm.
relationship. It but it what that looks like is dependent on the male. It depends on what what structures and foundations he has established within his relationships for himself and for his relationship and for his family. And so those are three separate entities, right? There's
Yeah,
yourself, the structure and framework that you have built for yourself that you continue to build upon, the structure for your relationship with your spouse, and then the structure and framework for your family as a whole, right?
yeah,
You need goals and progression in all of those ranks but that requires communication. That requires open and effective, honest communication. It's, hey, I have this set of goals for our family, right? I'm going to need you to help me reach said goals. You understand what I'm saying?
I got you.
And
I got you.
and for the spouse, it her goals, she needs to have goals for herself. She needs to have goals for her husband and goals for the family. And so she then needs to have structure and framework herself and then need to be working towards those things. So for example, my wife, when I met her, her goal was she wanted to be a nurse. You know, we got married. She got pregnant. We got married. She gave birth. COVID happened. I was still in the Air Force at the time. We ended up picking up right as COVID ended, moving to Germany, and then 2 years later retiring, and now we're in San Antonio, Texas. And so her goal of being a nurse kind of got pushed to the side because
Yeah.
of everything that happened. But I was like, no, that's what you want. We're still gonna do it. We just got to take a different route.
Different route.
And so what I did was help lay the path out for her to still go ahead and reach those goals. You understand what I'm saying? And so
Yeah.
it's still on me, right? Because if
Yeah.
I leave it up to her, if I leave it up to her, it's gonna be, well, I'm focused on my family, focus on this, and then there's gonna be some sort of there could potentially be some sort of depression for not reaching her goals or resentment that seeps in for not reaching her goals, and can't allow that. So
No.
no, what we're gonna do is we're gonna get you back focused, but it starts with me.
Yeah. But now in your situation, and going back to the earlier statement about being better and doing better, the quality of a partner in our search to find a partner.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, the truth of the matter is, a lot of us come from broken homes.
Mm-hmm.
The single parent family is the dominant family. The nuclear two parent household is the minor family now. So a lot of us come from broken homes, and I can only speak to what, you know what I'm saying, I've noticed it, because and then, I'm a black male, so I can only speak what happens in the black community. It seems like in the two parent home, our women are taught to be strong. Don't let, don't do, don't take, don't this, don't that. Single parent home where there's boys, you better nurture. Like you say, find a woman. They want to find a woman. A woman want to find a man that treats his mother well. Well, she's telling her all the things that you should pull out a chair for a woman, do all this here and do this here for a woman, and everything. So it's you're making a simp, and you're creating a headstrong woman. So when we have to go out there and meet each other, we're both fighting from the wrong end of the relationship pole. You're the woman is being taught what she shouldn't have, or what she shouldn't allow. So when your statement of talking about, hey, putting the woman back, putting your spouse back on the track of the goal, that don't really fly too much in our community, because they're going to see that as controlling. They're going to see that you're doing too much. And even if they don't see it that way, they got a friend who's similar, gonna be in their ear and say, he's trying to control you. He's doing too much. He's this, he's that. You shouldn't do that. You shouldn't put up with that girl. And that's what the most thing I be talking about on social media is, we our foundation in coming into relationship is all screwed up. If you're a religious person, it teaches you God, man, woman, kids. And these women go to church and they listen to all that, but when they get into their personal life and data, nah, you're not gonna be this, you're not gonna do this. My kid's gonna come before you. So if you're basically destroying the statue of how things are supposed to flow, and you don't even realize it.